Welcome back to another exciting episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. We are not live today because Chris Aceto, the technician himself, and I are recording this on a Sunday afternoon because when the mice are away, the cat shall play. Or when the cat's away, the mice shall play, they say, Chris, right?
Dave, I just noticed, please, you can't make this shit up. I'm wearing the same shirt as you.
No, you got your RxMuscle shirt on? Whoa. Oh, it's a little different, but we're both RxMuscled out. And we didn't.
I got mine from the. Huh?
We didn't prearrange this either.
No. Of course.
My wife took I have the cast on my foot, obviously, so I can't go to beaches and pools and stuff like that. So my wife took the kids to Captiva, which is like, Sanibel Island. It's like like a nice beach. Yeah. So she took the kids to the beach, which I think she's crazy, actually. She said it's easier, though, than going to like a water park with them because she can kind of keep an eye on them all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so the kids love the water and everything like that. So they're picking shells and digging. And I feel bad that I'm missing it, but at the same time, my son's a lunatic. They're very difficult to take care of. I completely salute my wife because Amanda's is a trooper to take them to the beach herself.
Dave's hoping that she tires him out. All that fresh air and the seagulls and running around.
Yeah, unlikely. My son never tires. I don't know. The other two, they got a nap and everything. My son is like the Energizer Bunny. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So this is the first time you've been home without kids running around in how long?
Well, for an extended period of time. Since I think 2012. What is that, about 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years, first time you've been home.
No, my son was born in 16, but
You do when my kids would leave the house, I'd like grab a coffee and like, God, I haven't sit in this part of the house in like 5 years. Let me sit here and see what it feels like.
Exactly.
Because you know what? You only need, what's bizarre is you only use so much of your house.
Yeah,
you know what
right.
I mean? There's parts of your house you never even like go to.
Well, if you have a big house, that is, yeah. Some people have a small house; they use every inch of it. I really, salute the people. I've been doing a lot of saluting today, but I salute the people who have like 4 kids and they have 1 bathroom in the house.
Yeah,
my kids fight. We have 5 bathrooms, and they're fighting all the time about who's going to what.
Just assign one to each kid.
Exactly. Now, Chris, you guys had a graduation, huh?
Yeah, we had a graduation. This is it. High school graduation.
Who everyone is there. So for the people,
my oldest is graduating, Jabril. He's holding Salim, who used to wear those clothes. There's 18 and down to 3.
Unbelievable. And how old's the second one?
The second one is 16. He'll be 17 in July.
He looks older than the 18-year-old.
Yeah, he's wearing my purple shirt. Looks better on him than me.
Is that really your shirt?
Yeah, that's my shirt. I said, that shirt looks really good. Where'd you get it? He said, out of your closet. And the 8-year-old just wants to be home.
Yeah.
That's why he's giving me the face like, oh,
he doesn't want to be at graduation. I got you.
He just wants to like go home and play.
Right.
And look at that tiny little diploma they give out.
Yeah. I guess they're trying to save paper.
It's like the prize money's going down. The diplomas are going down in size.
There you go. Now, is he going to college next year?
Yeah, he's going to the University of Maine. I told him, go where you want to go. Can you imagine? Pick anywhere you want to go, and I'll bring you to that campus.
Right.
He just procrastinated and.
Oh, he never even applied?
No, didn't even apply.
Oh my God! So he's going to. So is Maine like right? Is he going to be at home or is he going to be staying there?
No, he'll be there. He'll be staying there. It's like maybe 2.5 hours from my house.
That's
I mean, I could drive him there every day. I was going to say Dave, because I mean, I spend 2.5 hours bringing people to track, picking people up from track.
Right.
People miss buses to like school. I have to bring them to school, pick them up from school. They missed a bus. They have projects after football, after after track, pick them up. So I spend like 3 hours a day on the road anyway.
2.5 hours is great. I'll tell you why, because it's far enough that he can be away from you guys. But if he has to come home and cry or whatever, or something's wrong, he can always come home. It's not
emergencies.
Are you giving him a car or no?
No, I'm going to change the locks. So here, you're on your 18. You're on your own. I'm going to give you a W-9 at the end of the year. Don't come home.
Right.
Pay for your own groceries. You know what? I looked at tuition and I thought, like, one is high. I mean, everything's high, right?
Right.
But I was thinking like, well, I mean, a lot of parents do. I don't know if I would. If it wasn't going to college, I probably would not.
Right.
But parents will rent an apartment for their quote kid.
Mm.
If I had to rent an apartment and pay for the food, it's more money than it is just to send them for University of Maine for, it's the same amount.
Right. What you would do is, I'm surprised you haven't bought an apartment over there at the University of Maine, and then like a couple units, and then give your son one.
Idea. Pay for it. It's a great idea.
There you go. That right there is going to inspire you to want to go to University of Maine. Start looking.
You know me. It's 100% on my head. It's in my head.
That's awesome. It's crazy. Now, obviously, you still have 3 in the house, but it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, right, to see him go away and have to leave home.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's bizarre, Dave. It goes very quickly, and life goes by very, very quickly. I've always been aware of that. I've told the story on this show before, where this guy came to my house. I went to high school with him, and he had kids at that time of 18 and 19. And he told me, this is going to go so fast. You have no idea how fast 18 years is going to go when your kids leave the house. And I remember that night, I cried that night. Is that bizarre? And I don't cry over much. And I cried because I thought, he's right. 18 years is going to fly by. So I had this in my head. Okay, you better make sure that you're tuned in here so it doesn't fly by. And I thought I was tuned in, and here we are, flew by anyway.
Well, what you did was you had more kids too. So because imagine if you had one and he's out of the house and it's just you and your wife, then you would really be crying.
Yeah. We wouldn't know what to. I would imagine if one left, it's hard to adapt, because then you have to go back to I don't know.
Yeah. We in Florida here, we have a Florida prepay. You can pay for college.
Yeah,
now.
You guys got it all. That's why Florida's.
This way, if it goes up the tuition which it will, of course, over the 18 years, by the time they get to 18, it's going to be a lot more expensive. So we've paid all 3 of the kids' colleges off already. I mean, so if they want to go to school in Florida somewhere, it's paid for. Which this way, that's my gift to them. If they want to do anything beyond that, it's up to them. That's how I see it.
They had that. We were talking about my grandmother before. They had that prepay for funerals. And
all the Italians love to do that shit, right?
Dave, true story. My grandmother, I have so many crazy Italian true stories. My grandmother prepaid for her funeral.
Oh my God.
And at her funeral, because she always used to say when I was little, I didn't even know what it meant. I'm prepaid, Ma. I'm all prepaid. I said, what's that mean? She'd say, when I die, there's no bills.
That's awesome.
So she would be prepaid for her funeral. So of course, Dave, when she died, and they had the wake, the guy who's in charge of the funeral home approached my father with the bill. What do you think happened?
What, it bounced or something like that? What happened?
No, because she was prepaid.
So what'd they try to hit you with?
The bill in full, she's not prepaid.
Oh, they try to scam you.
Yep. What do you think happened?
Your father punched the guy in the mouth.
Choke out, headlock, choke out. Police came. I mean, you got Sopranos on HBO, whatever it was on. You got Aceto craziness.
What happened? Did he get arrested?
They gave him the bill, and my father just was like,
no, I mean, what happened to your father when the police came?
No, they of course they were apologetic because he went nuts, and the guy, who knows the guy. I mean, they should have known. I mean, you should know who your best customers are. I hate to say it,
Right.
But in that grieving moment, the way he approached him and
right.
I need a word from you. I can see it. My father thinking he's gonna say, she was a wonderful person and blah blah blah. Here's the bill.
And your father was waiting for that too, probably because it was a good excuse for his grief to get his anger out and beat the guy up, rather than say, I think you made a mistake, go back and look at the computer, she's prepaid. Your father just said, I'll just beat him up first.
And for all the years my grandmother used to tell my father, drop this guilt bomb, nobody needs to take care of me even when I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like I'm my own,
you know, my grandfather who died in 92, my father's father, he had some kind of like funeral thing too. He did for himself or something like that. He had the money in the bank, like some kind of special little fund or something like that for his funeral. Like, you know, and he wanted to be buried in, he used to always say it. Of course, we didn't wind up doing this, but he wanted to be buried in a metal box because he didn't want the bugs, the worms to get in there and eat him up. You know, he wanted metal. He said metal. He goes, they'll never get through metal. He goes, wood they can eat through. I said, does it matter?
Yeah,
he wanted to be like entombed, like the pharaohs of.
Well, they was it entombed? Yeah, entombed when they wrap him up. What's it?
Yeah. So he can survive forever. Anyway, let's segue to bodybuilding here for a minute, and we're going to be doing another epic battles a little later in the show, like we did last week. A lot of people favorably received that. I wanted to talk about Ramy for a second because there was some more gossip that I heard through the grapevine that the reason actually you might have even been the one who told me this or heard it too, that the reason Ramy, and I had speculated that this was the case, the reason why Ramy never showed up in Pittsburgh was that he was afraid to step on stage with Nick Walker. Do you think there's any validity to that?
I would think that he'd be more afraid if Hadi Chupin was doing a guest posing.
I would think so, but Ramy.
Well, it's funny though that Ramy used to show up with Kai and right, and
but that was before he wasn't Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yes, yeah, big difference. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know why Ramy would fear anyone. He's the biggest guy out there. Yeah, as big as Nick Walker is, he's bigger.
Well, there's yeah, I mean, there's muscle and there's muscle with the structure, I mean, like Phil had the muscle, but he didn't have the width structure, but he was still wild looking. And Ramy has the structure, but it's adding more muscle too.
Yeah, I noticed on Ramy's Instagram they've been putting up a lot of stuff like Ramy's coming. Ramy's coming. He's back.
Just not coming to the guest posing.
No, it's funny because Ramy's thing is he's always talking about, winter is coming. Winter is coming. And I don't know if you ever watched Game of Thrones, the HBO special. That was like the big thing. The winter is coming, but they had something. But when winter was coming, they had the White Walkers. Those were the guys that would kill you in the winter. And it's funny that Nick Walker.
That is very funny. Yeah.
Right. So maybe winter is coming. Ramy's bringing winter, but if Nick Walker shows up, he could be the White Walker that wipes out Ramy.
That's a good T-shirt to make.
There you go. That's what Nick Walker. Nick, I'm throwing you a free idea. Say the White Walkers are coming. You should put some white makeup on or something like that, a white wig, and Ramy will be fearing you for his life. When he shows up. So there you go. Throwing out free ideas. Maybe we should make the shirts and sell them.
I see that last shot. He was working calves.
Yeah, he doesn't. I'll say something for Ramy. I don't know. Have you ever seen him actually train? I mean, the guy is. I mean, I heard he's very strong.
I've only seen some clips.
Yeah. I'm saying you were never in the gym with him.
No, just like the last 3 days before Spain, which is going to be another one of our Dexter versus Ramy in Spain.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be on the list.
Yeah,
I have a lot of them, Dave.
I like those. I think people will love those after. Did you say? I want to show you a picture. Nick Walker put up a picture of the first show we won in 2016. Let me pull this up here. Hold on. You could tell this guy was a freak right from the beginning. Let's go. Here we go. Look at that.
Something's on my screen, Dave. I may have to. No, anyways.
No, you're fine. What do you think of that? Pretty impressive, right?
He's very impressive.
He's got to be a teenager here, I would think, at 16.
Extremely impressive. Wow.
2016 NPC South Jersey Championships. He won the overall.
That front shot is ridiculous. For how old? I thought you said 16, Dave.
Okay. No. In 2000, he has to be 18 years old here, I would think, right? He's only 26 now, and this is 6 years ago. So,
yeah, he's impressive.
Maybe 20, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was that good young. I just thought he just exploded like the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think he made a lot of improvements to his physique in the last 3 years, but he always had the size. I think it just maybe he didn't really know what he was doing with the size.
Yeah.
There's no way someone like him just pops out of nowhere. You know that.
No.
You could see all the tools right here. Bob, what would Bob Grushkin have done when they saw him? If he saw him at a show?
Oh, he would.
It would have been all over that.
Yeah. He would have. I was just thinking about the other day.
Nick, don't listen to these guys.
Yeah. No, he'd tell him to do something absolutely stupid, crazy that no one would, and it'd work. Cut your training down to 3 days a week. You're overtrained, something just out from left field.
Yeah. Look, you know what the truth is? Nick Walker's the most exciting thing to come to bodybuilding in a very long time. And I think that he's good for the sport. I think he's going to sell more tickets. He's bringing the young people back into the sport who weren't here. He's getting them excited about it. And I think people like this guy, and he's got a good personality. He's not like a fly on the wall. He likes to, have fun. He doesn't mind, pulling the whole Muhammad Ali act, calling people out and stuff like that, and predicting, his victories. And let's face it, people love to hear that stuff, right? I mean, isn't that what bodybuilding should be about? More guys like him with the right personality.
Well, I mean, he's got a personality. He's got the body. A lot of times people have the personality without the body.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're talking like they're going to be a Nick Walker.
Right. Well, Blessing has got a great personality too, and he's delivered this year. So I mean,
that's going to be, the closer we get to December, the more speeches George is going to write for Blessing. Brother, try this out. I told everyone. I told you, Nick.
He's going to be a speechwriter. George is going to be a speechwriter too.
No, because Nick had said, I think on this show, or he said, not Nick. Blessing said, George told me I was going to win. He said, start your speech. And I said, oh, no. If he wins 2 straight, then George is going to have to participate in that speech. I tell you, look, mention Kai, Dexter, all the champions.
He probably wrote Cedric's acceptance speech, too, when he won the Arnold Classic.
Yeah, I did. I helped proofread. I proofread it. I have English master's degree. People think because I got accent, I'm not perfect English teacher.
Oh my God. You're funny. Very funny. Well, I think that the Olympia is the fact that it's at the end of the year is even better because it's, there's so much drama going on. More shows, more hype and build up for this thing, and a lot to talk about, as far as now, I wanted to ask you a question about the Olympia because, they're moving the Olympia back to Orlando next year. Is that a mistake, you think?
It was probably like a financial decision, my guess. And they decided, my guess, I'm a good guesser. Sometimes it's like doing a renovation. When you get into it, you say, shit, I'm overspending here.
Right.
And, you get out to Vegas. The thing is, Vegas 20 years ago, when they started having it there, whatever, was cheap. Yeah. Hotel rooms were cheap. Used to be cheap to eat out in Vegas.
Yeah.
Used to be cheap to stay in a hotel room. Used to be cheap to get a venue. And Vegas has changed a lot over the years. And, it's become more expensive. So you have to weigh, if we have all these crazy expenses, which everyone knows they do, where can we cut down? And they probably figured out, might as well go back to, there's no shame going back to Orlando. Having said that, there's something about having it in Vegas. There's just an added excitement. I don't know, it just feels more exciting when it's in Vegas, even if it's not at the Mandalay, where it should be, ideally, you know what I mean? Like right on the strip.
Right. I think where they moved it seems like it's a good spot. But you know what? It's interesting you said about cost because we made fun of the Orleans for 10 years or however many years they had it there. But you know what? That was the cheapest hotel of all. I loved bringing the staff there because it was really
$39.
Yeah, the rooms were really,
they just tell you, P.S. we haven't shampooed the carpets in the rooms for 12 years. The dirtiest, stinkiest.
Oh, yeah. They had people smoking cigarettes with oxygen in their nose at the same time while they were gambling in the casino there.
Of course.
but the rooms were cheap, and you know what? I ate in the food court every day. I had the Fuddruckers. I was eating. It was very cheap to stay there and do the Olympia. Now, obviously, it's going to be more expensive, but I don't know. I like Orlando because I like the idea that there's like Disney and all that stuff there, and for me, I could drive there. So I mean, that's an added incentive. But there, like you said, there is a mystique about the Olympia because it is the number one show. I would actually just like to see Arnold move the Arnold to Orlando. I think that would be better than Columbus.
Yeah, well, I think the idea of why people have traditionally liked Vegas is because that's always been where the big boxing matches are. And then MMA came around, and that's where people were crowned number one in the world. Sure. So it's fitting to to have it in a city where that's where the biggest sporting events, in terms of one-on-one sports, non-team sports. MMA non-team, bodybuilding non-team, boxing non-team. So, it's there's something special about Vegas.
I think that Vegas also it almost validates the win more. I don't know why, because it's if you can make it, that's if you can make it there, you can make it everywhere, right?
Well, that's New York, but that's the New York song.
No, but I'm just saying is that's where all the, like you said, the big championship fights are. It just seems like it adds more validity. Whereas if you win it in they used to hold it in Atlanta,
Augusta, Maine, where the venue was free.
It just doesn't feel as as important. Does that make sense?
Of course.
But on the end of the day, I would rather them save money on holding it and give more prize money away. I mean, that's the real thing we want to see, right?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to turn a profit. There's no Olympia without a profit. And I mean, I have no idea what the expenses are, which just means they're probably astronomical.
Oh, they have to be. They have to be. The venue alone has to be a fortune.
Yeah. But just all the, there's the things that cost a fortune, and then there's the things you get nickel and dime to, and you can go bankrupt on the nickel and dime things,
Look, before I had kids, when I would go and cover these shows, even before I would cover shows and just go to shows, I loved going out to Vegas because, yes, I wanted to see the show, but there was other things to do in Vegas too that I enjoyed doing, and going out at night there and stuff like that. So as a fan who wanted to go see bodybuilding, it wasn't just about the show for me. I got other stuff. Whereas if you go to Orlando, I mean, I guess I could go to Disney, but as an adult, who wants to just kind of have fun, there's really not a big nightlife in Orlando. So I think you're getting the best of both worlds for people who are making it a destination trip. I'm not talking about someone like me or you who's going to cover the show for a magazine or a website. I'm talking about for the people who are going as fans and want to then do other fun stuff and go to Flex Lewis's gym or go to Hide and Iris Kyle's gym out there. It's
go by Jay's house to see if he made the billionaire list yet.
Well, we were just talking before the show about how now Tiger Woods is on the billionaire list, and I guess what's his name, LeBron James is on the billionaire list.
3 athletes. They just added.
Who else?
This week they added. It was LeBron just got added. Tiger just made it. So LeBron made it right before Tiger this week, and of course Michael Jordan was number 1.
Yeah. And
I said Jay is. I'm gonna wire Jay 10,000 after the show because he's only 10,000 short from $1 billion. What's it? 999,998,000.
I said to you, I said Jay probably has more money in the bank than all of those guys.
Yeah, they have assets.
Because he's actually liquid.
I need my $1 billion. Okay, Mr.
James.
Okay. Who's just King James? We're gonna have to. What we're gonna do is we're gonna liquidate the stock portfolio, and we're gonna all this real estate we're gonna put on the market. It's gonna take us 3 months to put together the marketing information, and then we're gonna send it out. What about for Cutler?
He's just going to drive next you're down to 500 million after that. Yeah.
What about Jay? Well, he's got it in a checking account. We just got to go buy the 7. He's got to.
The only guys who have $1 billion in the checking account is Jay and Ben Weider had $1 billion also when he died. Very funny. But I think when you get it out in Vegas, you do get like people like Jay who live there. you do have that whole flex. Like, I can't believe Dan should be doing something with the gyms there now that we have these, you know, high-end gyms that are run by, you know, bodybuilders like former Miss Olympia, Iris and Hide, and you got Flex Lewis's gym there. I mean, that's something that they should do some kind of Olympia promo with, you know, like, hey, you get, you know, you buy a ticket, you get a free admission into the Dragon's Lair or something like that. And it's good business for everyone all around. And, you know, that makes the destination even, you know, more, because I remember back in the day, remember we used to go to that, what was Gold's originally on Flamingo, where all the photo shoots would be done. So if you went on Sunday to the gym, you know, Sunday morning, you would get to watch all the Olympians who just, you know, getting their photos taken, you know, because Blackman was running photo shoots. Flex Magazine was running photo shoots. I don't know if anyone does photo shoots anymore, you know, because there's no magazines anymore, which is kind of sad in a way, you know? Yeah. But that was a big thing back in the day as well. But yeah, you probably can see a lot of these guys going to the gym and just doing their own stuff. Because if I'm competing at the Olympia and I'm placed in top 10, I know I look good. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to bring my own camera crew, you know, and film myself on my Instagram, my YouTube channel. You know, you got to become an entrepreneur in your own right. You know, when you're in the best shape of your life, that's when people want to see what you look like. Yeah. Go do training videos. Go do your own stuff. Hire your own photographers. And the fans will come there and they'll be, you know, they'll want to see you. And that's going to help you network with your contingency, so to speak. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lots changed, you know. Lots changed over the years. You know, interesting to see how much, I don't know what they sold last year. Do you know how many pay-per-views they sold for the Olympia?
I don't know. I have to imagine that it's higher than it's been in the past because a lot of people don't want to travel because of COVID and stuff like that. You would think that there would be more people buying these live streams. I thought they did a very good job of it, you know.
I mean, besides the live stream, I mean, that could, because that's
I'll bet you more people are buying the live stream nowadays than they did 10 years ago.
Oh, easy. Than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the, I mean, there's nothing like going to the Olympia, of course, but, you know, the live stream is obviously a income line for them. And it's probably, you know, there's probably a lot more you can even add to, you know what I mean, to get people to buy.
I think they did a great job. The Arnold was really great, the live stream this year too, and because they had it in all the different venues, so you could watch the strongman, you could watch the prejudging in the expo. These are things you couldn't do in the past. You can watch the stuff, the Patel Grand. You got to do that in this day and age. You have to have a live stream available,
no doubt,
and people will pay money for it. You know, the problem is you can't overcharge for it. There has to be a sweet spot.
It can't be 45 and 55 like I just paid for the Canada Pro.
That was a ripoff. And you know what? People were very upset with it. There wasn't a big lineup anyway there. For a show like that, you make it, you know, $19.99. Yeah. And you know what? You'll make more money because more people will buy them.
Volume, of course.
Because you know what? Who's not going for $20? Anyone's going to pay the money.
Yeah.
I'll just do it just to watch the prejudging. I'll pay $20. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's stupid to overcharge for those things. You try. It's all about volume. Look at the WWE, you know, business model. About I think it's what $10 or I don't even know. Maybe they raised it a few bucks. $10 a month. $10 a month. You get everything. You get everything. But they have millions and millions of subscribers to their app, and you can watch everything. Not only the stuff that's being live streamed, but the stuff that's the past stuff. You know,
speaking of
60 years ago, you can watch.
Speaking of billionaires, right? I mean, Vince, right?
Yeah.
No, he officially crossed the billionaire, you know, a long time ago.
Oh yeah, he was a billionaire before.
Yeah, before when a million was worth something. Yeah. I mean,
the interesting thing about Tiger Woods is he's a billionaire now, but remember he gave up half his money to his wife when they got divorced. So he actually probably would have been a billionaire way.
That marriage was the worst investment he ever made, technically.
Now, you know what's weird though? I mean, Tiger Woods is not winning titles. Where is he getting all his money from now? What's he being
probably
paid
endorsements?
For?
I mean, people know the names. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like people still know the name, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, they probably Jack Nicklaus still probably makes money on endorsements, and he hasn't played golf, and God knows, I mean, he hasn't played competitively.
Joe Namath still doing commercials.
You know, I saw someone. There was some kind of like article they ran about like 20 athletes that should never have made it to the Hall of Fame or something like that. And Joe Namath was in there. They were like saying,
really?
Joe Namath really.
Can't hear you, Dave. You must have pushed the cord.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Joe Namath must have been, they said the only reason Joe Namath was put in the Hall of Fame is because he guaranteed the victory against, the Colts, and they won the Super Bowl, that one year, and that's why he got it in Broadway Joe, and because he was such a popular guy. But I find it funny how people will find any way to discredit anything that anyone does.
Oh, of course, no doubt about it.
I mean, look,
it's a national pastime.
Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame.
Gamble. We can't put you. Just name the athlete. No, you're no good.
Do you really think that should keep him out of the Hall of Fame because he gambled on baseball?
God, please. This is the stupidest thing ever. But now you can. How's that? Now you can. You can bet on baseball now. So what? He was just ahead of his time. He was a trailblazer. Should have been getting an award.
What about Barry Bonds? Should he be in the Hall of Fame?
Barry
he
Bonds?
wasn't the only guy using steroids.
Yes, because the whole league in his era was juiced to the smithereens.
Yes. Exactly.
How about they criticized when Michael Jordan used to like to gamble. Remember that?
He was a heavy gambler.
He was a heavy gambler.
His thing was, though, I pay my bills, because I got the money to gamble.
Yeah.
I had Troy Zucolato on the show, and Troy Zucolato is a crazy gambler. Yeah. But he makes a ton of money, so he could pay if he wants to gamble $100,000 away for a weekend, he can afford to do it. I guess you know. What's wrong with that, right?
Yeah, nothing.
You can afford it. I mean, everyone has weird habits, right?
Yeah, I mean, they try to keep it like the Hall of Fame, like pure and holier than thou. It's like it's a place to celebrate sports people's success, not like yes.
It's not a personal. Ty Cobb was a horrible human being. Everyone knows that, but he's in the Hall of Fame because he has numbers that are no one else has put up.
Yeah. So
speaking of numbers in Hall of Fames, I don't think you heard this story. I probably didn't tell you, but we were talking about, Lee Priest was inducted into the Muscle Beach Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right. You told me that.
Joe Wheatley. Yeah, I don't know if I told you the story, but evidently they're out of plaque spaces. So he's the last guy to be inducted into the Muscle Beach Hall of Fame. There's no place else to put another plaque. So he's the last plaque. And it came down to him and Sean Ray for this last plaque. And I guess, I don't know who voted or who decided.
I voted. I forgot to tell you, Dave. And I mentioned just like when they wanted to keep Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame, I mentioned Sean Ray's mom.
But Sean evidently was very upset by the fact that,
of course he was,
and he called up Joe Wheatley, like cursing him out or something like that, according to what Lee told me.
Because it's so funny you mentioned Hall of Fame. I was thinking, I just don't have the energy. But I was thinking, okay, what else am I going to do? And I said, you know what? Because Joe Weider used to mention, not mention, but he used to talk openly about Bodybuilding Hall of Fame. And he used to, Dave, his little wacky saying was, because I used to think that's a lot of the word build in one word. He used to say, I'm going to build a building for bodybuilding. It sounded so wacky. I'm going to build a building for bodybuilding.
You have a good impression. I'm going
to build a building for bodybuilding. And I'd say, what do you mean? He said, he'd say Hall of Fame. All the artifacts. He'd call them artifacts. Like it's from
he never did that. I'm really shocked he didn't do it.
So, years later, it was 20 years ago, I thought I should start collecting people's junk. You know what I mean? And then I can, do something with it at some point. Right. And then I just forgot about it and I thought about it here and there. And then just recently I thought there's not really a bodybuilding Hall of Fame and some of this stuff will disappear, unless people
I said it over and over. I told my wife, I said, if I hit the lottery, I want to build a Hall of Fame on our property next door. She's like, for what?
No, Dave, you know what? If you had an authentic, whatever that even means, collection of people's junk.
I can get people's junk. If I built a Hall of Fame and I reached out to people and their
pumping iron, that low cable row that Arnold used. Or bizarre stuff like that, like the Gold's Gym a sign,
original tank top or something like that. Or Ed Connors, I'm sure, has memorabilia from Gold's Gym.
Yeah, memorabilia. Because even if you couldn't make a financial success of the location, people would buy it.
People are collectors all over the place. I guarantee if you put out your feelers, hey, I got a Hall of Fame, people would donate stuff for it to be displayed in a visual building of a Hall of Fame. It's sad that we don't have one. But you know what? The closest thing we do really have is that Muscle Beach. So you would think that, given the fact that like Arnold is from that area there, and Arnold has a lot of money, you would think Arnold would make some kind of a donation to the city of over there, Venice, where, hey, let's build. We ran out of space with these plaques. Let's make another structure that we can put these plaques on. I'll pay for it. I'll make a donation so that we can do this and that we can honor all the people that have, because that Muscle Beach Hall of Fame is for the Muscle Beach. It's really not an IFBB Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, but there is a list of guys who've been inducted into the IFBB Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, and that those guys should have some sort of a plaque or acknowledgement for what they've accomplished.
Well, if you put it on your property, the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame with memorabilia, I will get in touch with John Hansen, and he can be the curator.
I already said that. He was already accepted the job. I haven't even offered it to him yet. I said, John,
the historian.
He would be there. The guy.
He's
100 years old. He'd still be showing people around.
These are the trunks Lee Haney won at the 78 teenage Mr. America in South Carolina.
That's right. People want Lee who?
Yeah.
No one even knows. I guarantee you there are people out there who are new to the sport who don't even know who Lee Haney is. I know it sounds sacrilegious, but I'm telling you, they don't know. They don't know the history of the sport.
Yeah, they people.
You know what the reason why is?
Because
there's no magazines anymore. There's nothing that people read on a regular basis to remind them of who these. If we don't do it on this show and they don't listen to it, then who knows? These people just come in. They want to get their pro card. They don't even know what it takes to get a pro card. They just know that if they win this show, they can get a pro card. And so won this show and got their pro card at the Masters Nationals at this 35 and over, Group B class, and so they can do it too. They don't realize the prestige of an IFBB pro card, nor the people that forged the way before them to get to this point in time where originally it was only just men's bodybuilding, essentially. People don't even realize that was even a case. And even when there was women's bodybuilding, there was nothing else. That's it. For years, that's all it was, men and women's bodybuilding, So I think I would love to see it. Maybe Jake Wood can do it. He seems to have the funding to be able to do that. Even if he built it where he is right now, I know he's got a really nice building over there. It might be a nice thing for him to do. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be one room where they display the plaques, maybe one piece of memorabilia for each athlete who's been inducted.
You only need a few things from each Mr. starting with each Mr. Olympia.
Right.
You
definitely would want Mike Katz's Crusher, right? His Crusher, remember?
You'd want the towel the T-shirt, the Mike Katz T-shirt that was stolen from him.
I'd want Lou Ferrigno's like something from the Hulk that he did or something like that. Some kind of Hulk, memorabilia.
Yeah.
What everyone's known for. What I mean? Everyone has
the hot water bottle that Franco Colombo blew up on or whatever. It exploded on Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, I think John Hansen owns that actually. It would just be great to have something that helps these athletes. I was thinking the other day. I said, because they give awards out and stuff like that to people, and I'm like, I don't even want it. Not that anyone's handing me any awards, but I don't even want an award. But you know what? If I was a bodybuilder in the IFBB, which I wasn't, I would want to be acknowledged as a Hall of Famer. I mean, I think that's
No, because I
is nice.
Well, Dave, you hit you're right. And there's always been, I think Flex Magazine used to induct. That was like a Peter McGuff thing.
But who inducted them? You know what?
McGuff. Why Peter was always Peter
and Joe sat down and figured who they should induct.
They would put a
panel of people, Chris, like former Mr. Olympians or something like that will vote like they do in college football. The writers, the college football writers all vote.
All Mr. Olympias make it, right?
You have to, because there's only so few. It's like, you got to be, if you're Mr. Olympia, you're Hall of Fame. You got to make the Hall of Fame. Dexter, Hall of Fame. Samir, Hall of Fame. But then
you got to induct like people who you wouldn't expect to. Like, I spoke to him the other day. I never speak with him. Milos, he did 77 shows and he only won 1. I said, "You are a horrible bodybuilder." But just the idea that he did 77.
I don't know. Was he the worthy Hall of Fame guy?
Yeah. He's like one of those baseball players, like who like on the edge. He didn't win a lot of shows, but he, because he did so many shows and was always in shape. Let me throw a name out of
here. I don't think Milos is worthy of the Hall of Fame. Although I love Milos, he's probably one of my favorite guys out there because he's. But I will tell you,
he's an outlier for one.
Let me hit you with the name who had a very shortened career because of of illness, but I think it might be worthy. What about a Mike Francois?
I would say by the skin of his teeth and maybe. Because of his record, only because it was such a short career. He won his first 4 pro shows, including the Arnold.
Yeah.
Got sick and then would have been, what would have been Mike Francois because people expected him to,
So does that make the Hall of Fame or not? Because he never really had a long career.
It'd have to be like, he'd probably not make it in on the first vote. How like
he might be on the second ballot, third.
Well, he might be on he might not make it in. It's not a slam dunk. Winning the Arnold is not a slam dunk.
No. What about Nasser?
Nasser makes it in. Yeah.
Why?
Won the Arnold, scared everyone at the Olympia.
Should have won the 97 Olympia, probably.
Though Dorian, if you arguably, yes. And the other reason he should be in the Hall of Fame is because he was unique in terms of being a mass monster without early on, before like 95 and 6, probably 7 too. He had the mass with the midsection.
Yeah.
So he was a mass monster.
Here's another one. This will be an interesting one since you're the new Hall of Fame selection committee chairman right now. What about Dennis Wolf? Never won an Olympia, won an Arnold.
Third and fourth. He makes it in on the 3rd and 4th ballot. No, because he's not a Nasser.
No.
I mean, Nasser at his best, Wolf at his best. Who wins?
Probably Nasser, yeah.
Yeah, too much muscle.
What about Lee Priest?
Nope. No. Not enough. No wins.
Well, he's got a few wins. He doesn't have any major wins, but he was competing. He was a 212 guy competing essentially with open guys. Back.
Well, I mean, so was
like
probably
Danny Padilla.
John Ray was a 212 guy.
Right. True. And he won Arnold's. Yeah. True. I agree.
I mean, Gaspari would be in there. He never won the Olympia. He'd definitely be a first time around vote. Everyone would vote for him.
Yes, because from his era, he's probably in there, right? I don't
know the uniqueness of it. He was. I mean, we say, oh, Nick Walker was 25. He's phenomenal. Well, Gaspari was 20.
What about a guy like Marcus Rule?
No.
No, because he didn't win.
Glutes and hams will hold him out of the.
Lonnie Teeper would say that the Cavs would keep Dennis Wolf out of there, right?
Out of the Hall of Fame, yeah.
Oh my God, can't make this stuff up. Let me think about what about a what's the guy's name? I'm trying to think of now. Shoot. Oh my God. I was gonna hit you with a good one.
You got to put like McGuffin there too.
What about Vince Taylor? Now, Vince Taylor's in the Hall of Fame,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, won a million shows. Vince Taylor won tons of shows.
Yeah.
20 shows.
He had the record for a while. So,
yeah. Posing routines, brought people to their feet at all competitions where, totally unique breakthrough in terms of he was the first one to, he just had a lot of entertaining routines.
Yeah. What about Cedric McMillan?
Yeah. Won an Arnold.
But never performed at the Olympia ever.
No, never did good at the Olympia.
I don't know. That might keep him out.
Yeah, it might be a third vote, but you have to weigh the fact that actually you had to weigh the fact that he actually predicted classic bodybuilding. When he came on the scene, he said, those are quotes from Cedric, that they're going to have to come up with a new division because they don't know what to do with me. And all these guys are trying to, I'm serious.
Yeah.
He said they're going to have to come up with a new division.
Right.
Because, there's people who are talking
right,
about
but that doesn't put you in the Hall of Fame. Just because he's a prophet.
Second and third vote.
It's tough. It's tough when you look at it. When you look at the Hall of Fame, you have to say, does this person have a Hall of Fame career, even though they had a really amazing physique?
I think you have to have done. You would have to have won the Olympia, of course. Remove that, but you'd have to either won an Arnold and been a threat at least a couple Olympias. You know what I mean? Where like your name was like
Kai Green. Kai Green, obviously, easy.
Won an Arnold, a threat at the Olympia.
Easy inductee.
Yeah. But the speech he would give would, in and of itself,
it wouldn't be worth. It might not be worth hearing the speech.
Huh?
It might not be worth having to hear the speech.
George would help him write the speech too. Brother, are you Hall of Fame speech? I've got it for you. I've been listening to a lot of Martin Luther King.
Right. What about a guy like Darren Charles who won 1 million shows?
No.
In both bodybuilding and in classic.
No, it's like owning a lot of properties in secondary locations in real estate. You got to have one in Miami and Manhattan to be in the
right,
Hall of Fame. You can't have these like Akron, Ohio, and
It's interesting, but you know what? I'm just us talking about it and speculating. I'm getting like excited about the whole idea. And I think the athletes would, and the fans would too, that to have an actual selection crew. What I think they should do is they should have a committee, 10 people. And it should be people who critique the sport. Okay. Not necessarily. And judges are tough because you know what? There could be a bias in it, but I think there are certain judges that I would definitely like. Weinberger should definitely be a guy who votes, type of thing.
Okay, let's go to the committee. It's got to be Jim. It's got to be Steve.
Right.
Some people passed away. It would have been like Joe. It would have been
right. They're not around.
I think you put.
You got to give the guy who runs the Olympia a vote. Jake Wood. Got to put him on
Jake Wood. Okay, so you got Hansen, Wood, Mannion.
I think that you and I should be, and John Romano should be on that committee. Absolutely.
Okay, there's 7. Because a lot of people are not even around anymore. They're like
like the line.
I think you throw one. I think you throw an athlete like an Olympia winner, like Gaspari, who's still involved.
Yeah. What about Lonnie Teeper? I mean, he's still even though he's not necessarily emceeing. He's still,
that's 9. We got 10 more, and someone from Instagram. Someone from Instagram.
Yeah, you gotta have the number
just
one.
To have the followers.
Yeah.
We'll find out who the biggest guy is with followers. What's the guy's name? Nick's Powered Strength from his basement. We'll have to coach him. Say, Nick. Now Lee Haney was an Olympia winner here.
He read his Wikipedia page. He knows.
Yeah. Here, brush up on this.
Yeah. No, but I think that would be cool. And then every year, you pick maybe like 2 people a year. And then at the Olympia, you announce them as the Hall of Fame inductees for the year.
No. The inductees get announced at the Pittsburgh Pro.
Yeah, and
then they get voted into whoever at the Olympia itself.
Yeah.
Correa,
and then the only thing we have to settle is find a place to actually hold. Really, Jim Manage in Pittsburgh could have I'm sure part of his building even devoted to that. Maybe Tyler Mannion will make that his. Now that we're all getting old, maybe Tyler.
Jim can donate like the food bill from like when he brings out all the athletes after he says, "I got a bill of $13,000 here on my Amex from 2003 when everyone came out to eat."
Someone's got to do it. Build a building, and you know what? Start the because I don't think anyone's even been inducted into the Hall of Fame in the last 15 years or 10 years. Are they still? They're not doing any more Hall of Fames. After Joe Weider died, that was it, right?
I mean, what about Larry Scott's? I mean, he must have, his courses that he used to make, the original.
Look,
there's so much
there are
junk
family members that have paraphernalia from these people. So even though Cedric's not alive, I'm sure his wife, would donate something of his to the to the Hall of Fame if he inducted. Same thing with Sean Roden. His family has memorabilia of his. You got to do this because it honors the athletes in a way that it makes what they've accomplished and all the sacrifices they've made. It makes it worth it. You know what I mean? It makes it like, you know what? I'm being acknowledged for the hard work I did. Yes, you don't need to do that, but they would do it. But it really does add a level of legitimacy, I think, to the accomplishments of the guys who did special, amazing things.
Yeah, we can have Carlos Filipino do the cafe.
And Filiponi. Yeah.
Filiponi. We can have like the
chicken pound, sponsored by the chicken pound.
And you can have like the Kai. I'll have the Kai Green cheat meal. You can have the Kai Green cheat meal. It's like
I promise, if I win the Powerball, I will build.
It's not expensive if you start. The most important thing is getting the crap, the junk, the memorabilia.
That's Chris. That's easy. That's a couple phone calls.
I have Bob Gruskin's ashtray right over there. That's the only thing from the whole house. He should be
in there. Huh? I put him in there in 2 seconds. Yeah.
Where is that ashtray? I have the damn ashtray.
And you never even cleaned it, I bet. It still probably has the ashes in there.
The only thing I wanted out of his house
was the ashtray. Let me see. Oh my God.
So he used to smoke, and every bodybuilder would tolerate his smoking.
Yeah, it was horrible too. I remember when
he'd be like, Dave.
The cigarettes would be falling off the ashes onto the floor.
They'd go like straight down. He'd talk with the cigarette. Yeah. And there'd be one after another. And say, and I'd hate smoke, but I wouldn't mind when he'd use that ashtray.
Yeah.
Say the Bob Gruskin ashtray.
Well, you know what? Someone sent me an email today saying that they're dying and terminally ill, and they inherited $6.3 million, and they want to give it to me to distribute to the charities of my choice. So, I just have to send them like some email and do some probably turn over the keys to my house to them, but. I'll take that 6.3 million. I'll build that's my charity. I'm going to build the Hall of Fame with that 6.3 million. There's some random person from Istanbul, Turkey wants to give me 6.3. You ever get these emails, Chris?
Yeah. No.
You don't get these emails saying we have 6.3 million as we want to give you. We're dying and we feel
okay, give it to me.
Be able to handle
problem. But send us $1,000 first.
Yeah, some
processing fee.
Exactly.
Jay had taken a picture of a grocery list that he had given to his mom. His mom still has it when he was like 18 and 19. It's like, Mom, can you please pick these foods up for my diet? And it's like chicken, cream of wheat, cream of rye, and she still has it. Dave, I can't hear your volume. Dave keeps hitting the, can't do the show without you, Dave. I can't ad lib like you can.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
All right. You know what? We're getting to that point. We got to do our new segment. So let me pull this up here. All right. Epic battles. The 2014 212 Olympia. This is featuring Flex Lewis, Jose Raymond, Eduardo Correa. I think it was who else was that? Hide Yamagishi, and who else? There was one other person.
Well, the last call out is though.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Let me pull that up here. We're gonna determine who should have won that Olympia. Was it Flex? Should Flex have won? And here we go. Let's take a look at it. Aaron Clark is the other person, by the way. You're breaking up a little. Can I hear you now? So there's Flex in the middle, Hide to his right, Jose to Hide's right, Aaron Clark to the left of Flex Lewis in the middle, and then Eduardo Correa off to the left. They're still moving the guys around. There goes Eduardo.
You do get it down to the last three, right?
I got the whole whatever the clip you gave me. I'm running.
You got to speed it up and go down to the last three.
Okay, let's just see. I want people to get a good idea of what was going on. on the rating scale of best to worst, where would you rate Flex Lewis in this show?
This is his, not his best. I mean, he looked really good.
He was big here. He didn't look as dry as he normally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you want me to bring it to the end of the video?
Yeah. I mean, you can see it, you know what I mean? You get a better idea of like when it comes down to like the final three.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Just freeze that shot.
Yeah. Jose was big here.
Yeah. He had the legs. Jose wins that shot by a mile.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jose wins. Eduardo is probably the hardest guy in this lineup.
Yeah,
but
Jose wore that beard for the prejudge, and someone, I won't say which judge, it wasn't Weinberger.
Told him to shave it?
No. He went to the weigh-in. I remember this specifically. They went to the weigh-in and they judged the weigh-in. Posit did. So people were like, well, Flex doesn't look that good, and Eduardo looks peeled, and and Jose looks like big and peeled. You know what I mean? So some judge came up to Jose and said, "You're not going to wear that tomorrow, are you?"
Oh, the beard?
Yeah. And Jose screamed, "Now, if this is going to be an effing problem for anyone, tell me now. I don't want to hear it after the show that if it's going to affect me, just tell me. I'm all grown up. I can shave it off."
Yeah.
And I think Steve said, "No, just wear it." Because some judge, the way he said it, was like, "You're not going to wear that, are you?"
I'll tell you one thing. I remember watching this. This was super exciting. People going crazy.
The crowd was going absolutely bonkers. This was the crowd was, you couldn't even hear. Side chest, contrasts of different bodies, huh?
Yeah, it's really apples and oranges. You could definitely see how hard Eduardo is here, though. I mean, Flex was the biggest guy in this, but I think we've seen him harder, and so we were judging him against his best look, Like look at Eduardo's hamstrings. Flex looks like his hamstring wasn't quite as sharp as we've seen it in the past.
Yeah. Jose's got a good Christmas tree there.
Yeah.
Eduardo's
I think Flex just had more bells and whistles, and that's why he would win these shows and beat these guys, even when he was a little bit off, maybe.
Yeah, I think this is the year that he could have given.
What people don't realize is look how tall Eduardo is compared to these other guys. He was way too. The fact that he could make weight was insane. It was a miracle almost.
Well, I mean, we've been there at weigh-ins where he didn't make the weight, and they
Jose definitely had the best legs, I think, at least from the front in these groupings.
Yeah, Jose had best legs, best Christmas tree.
Flex most wow factor.
Side chest, Eduardo or Jose. Front double. Yeah, Jose was
Flex not as dry here. You can see his abs not as hard.
Legs quad, too.
Yeah, front
legs
quad
washed out. That's washed out too.
Yeah, good shot for Eduardo here.
Yeah, he's tight there.
Do you think that the right decision was made at this show?
No, I don't think so. I think if you run through that, there are shots that each of them win. But I think there's enough shots where Jose wins or Eduardo wins that by definition, at a minimum, you're up against the brink of losing for, you know what I mean? For Flex. Because it's not a one-on-one guy. It's not like, front back double, you can go with Eduardo. Side chest, you can go with Eduardo. Side chest, you can go with Jose. Back lat spread, Eduardo. Christmas tree. I mean, who wins this shot? I don't know. Maybe I'm biased.
I think Eduardo wins this shot, actually.
Let's run through it. My point was there's enough shots that Flex doesn't win to make him not the winner.
I'd give Jose this shot.
Yeah, Jose looks crazy there.
Jose had really good lower lats.
Crazy there, and Flex looks crazy there. Yeah, Jose's Christmas tree was really peeled. The lighting's not really good here, too.
No.
It's a little bright.
Flex was never dominant from the back, except in the conditioning department. He never had the best. Yeah, he never had the best. Glutes. Right. He didn't have the best back. You know, that was always like something he struggled with. I think having enough mass on his back, and Jose has those lats down to his waist. You know, Flex has the aesthetics. You know, he's got good aesthetics. But this is I even give Jose that shot, even if he's not holding his waist in quite as much.
Abs. Who takes the ab shot?
I would usually say Flex, but I think Eduardo's actually better on this shot. That shot, but I don't know. You know, I think if there had been one-on-one, I think it would have been harder for Flex to win. But like you said, because there was 3 of them, it's like each one was winning shots. It kind of, you go back to Flex and say, well, maybe he's got the best of everything, overall. But he's the Mr. Olympia. You got to give him the nod, that kind of thing. I don't think anyone would have complained had he lost this.
Yeah, that would have been, that's the consensus. That's exactly. I remember this. You can see to it. This is the end. He was definitely getting worse as the those last that like ab shot and the crunch shot.
But you know what? Then he came back the year after and looked amazing. So
yeah, 16 he came back. He looked better. 15, 16, 17, 17 especially was good.
And that's they give you a pass if you're an Olympia champ one time. Then if you come back worse again, like what happened with Ronnie, you lose. So Flex came back better and crazy, and that was the end of the story. This was probably the 1 year he was a little vulnerable, I think.
What can we get from Flex to put in the Hall of Fame? Because he'll be in. Right.
Yeah,
he's definitely in. What can we get from him?
He can give us some kind of.
Oh, Dave, I don't have anything to give to you.
He can give us like some kind of like belt of his that says the Welsh dragon or something like that.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame, guys. But Chris and I have to put these ideas out there so that they we attract the reality of the whole thing.
That's what happens. You put it out there, and
I told you if I win lottery, I'll build it. I don't care. I don't need to save the money for my kids. I'll build the Hall of Fame. I wish some of these other people. I wish Arnold would build a Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
maybe Jay could build one.
You know what you also need a 50 by 50 square foot building with a bathroom.
Yeah,
and it's all lighting.
I got a better idea. How about like a how like museums lend out stuff? How about like something that could be mobile? Like put it inside like one of the new casinos in Vegas. And have like how they put displays like they get King Tut's like stuff from Egypt for 6 months and then they send it someplace else. Maybe it could be some kind of like almost like a Smithsonian type of thing.
All you need the more important stuff is the stuff in it and how you display it.
Right.
You know what
at the very least the Smithsonian Institute should have a bodybuilding wing, don't you think? Why not? They have every other weird peculiar thing.
Yeah.
They probably have the fattest guy, the tallest guy there, right? They have all those displays.
Joe used to say this, then he'd get pissed.
Right.
Joe felt that he invented conditioning for all modern sports. He did.
He's probably right.
Because he said he used to write about it that he used to say that baseball players should be lifting weights. And they said, no, it makes you too muscle bound. Right. Every athlete, he used to say, should be lifting weights to improve their strength and their stamina and their their power component, whatever sport that is. He used to be adamant about that.
Right. He's right. Don't you think?
Yeah. And he says, I invented that. I told everybody you got to lift weights. Now everybody's lifting weights. Think of the stuff he has.
Oh my God. Yeah. Tell me about it. Right. Yeah, this is what I think. Oh, I'm pulling something up here. This is what they should do for bodybuilding. I think I'm changing my mind now. I think we need to have a wax museum of the bodybuilders so you can actually see these guys like true scale, the true scale of what these guys look like. Lee Priest and Jimmy the Bull were just in a wax museum. Did you see those?
No, but that's a great idea,
right? Because that's
a great idea.
Give people a real, but make it true to scale.
Yeah.
Pull this up. then people can understand what it looked like to stand next to it, like a bodybuilder, you know, in that era. There's Lee with Captain America, but these wax things, they make them look perfect. Imagine seeing Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, or Lee Haney, or Big Ramy, or Jay. I mean, it would be awesome to go in there, and that would be where their plaque is. They'd have their themselves displayed as a wax figure. You know, they could sign something if they're still alive. You know, Jay can sign something there and do a little. And this way, when they induct the person, they go to the actual place where they actually have the wax thing, and they do the whole ceremony right there in the museum.
Well, we'll keep the expenses down, just memorabilia at the beginning. The wax is going to get expensive, Dave.
I don't care. I think we deserve it. We got to do it right? If we're going to do it, let's do it right. That's what I always say. That's the idea. See, I've just created in my mind exactly how.
What happened is, Dave, poor Dave Palumbo. First time in 10 years you've been home and having a chance to
all these ideas.
Put some ideas out there.
That's right. All right.
Now you think you're being bamboozled. You think you have energy and energy to do it. I'm going to do it because your kids are out. They'll come back and
I'll be like, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. Let someone else do it.
If I win the lottery, I don't have to work. Then I can focus on the Hall of Fame. You know, there we go. Well, the IFBB Puerto Rico Pro is taking place this weekend.
Next
unfortunately,
weekend.
God forbid that the IFBB releases. Or next week. Okay. God forbid they release a competitor list ahead of time. I don't know why, but they can't release these competitor lists ahead of time. It's I'd like to talk about, you know, I have to wait till like the Monday before the show for them to release the list. So that, remember back in the day, they used to have the list up and they would just keep adding to it as people decided to enter the show. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why we can't have a list up for 2 weeks before a show, so we can talk about the show and get people excited about it. So the people will then go ahead and buy the live streams.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me, but not much does. All right, I got to go collect my $6.3 million that the guy from Istanbul, Turkey.
Don't forget to pay taxes on it, Dave. Don't be like Lee Priest.
I thought there's no taxes on inheritance.
Huh? Yeah. I want it.
I'm starting a nonprofit for the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame. This way I don't have to pay taxes on it. All right, as we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night. We'll see you next week.